Hi everyone, welcome to UX Living Lab. Our presentation will start soon. Hi, welcome again. We are talking about how likely is a customer is to stay with your brand. For today, this is a part of series we are talking about develop and track CX index. And this part we can call it as retention. And specifically, we are talking about how likely is the customer to stay with your brand. That means the customer should stay with your brand. That's your expectation. But what is a chance for that? And what are the uh, components we have to look into keep the retention of the customer? Actually, why we have to retain the customer? Of course, everybody knows why we have to keep our customers with us, because it's a part of business. So we whenever a customer is with us, we can easily sell new products, as well as we can sell extensions of the product. So there is no question of why should eliminate a customer, or why they are staying away from customer. But anyway, there is a small percentage of customers will stay away from you after first use. That is a part of that. What is the acceptance level for that? That these are the points we are discussing here. So happy customer always with you. That is a very simplest rule you can keep in mind. Customers should be happy always with you. How we can make them happy and stay with you? Think about a very simple scenario, or you can take as a case study. It's a cafe. In a cafe, customer is coming, they are having a coffee. That's the most prominent product in a cafe. So how they judge your service, and how they feel that your service as a cafe is acceptable to them. How likely customer to stay with your brand? Think about this scenario. In a cafe, their expectation was like this. It's a beautiful coffee with some cookies and served like this. You can see with the artistic work on coffee, and they expect such a coffee. But the reality was, I think it's a plain coffee without any add-ons, or like any emotional attachment to that, or emotional things to that, or some without adding any lovable things. So that's a reality. So if customer expect coffee with all these beautification and add-ons, but you are serving a plain coffee, then there is a difference. There is a gap between reality and expectation. So that results customer grade you as not satisfied. That means customer grade your service as not satisfied. Think about another scenario. What they expect is a beautiful coffee with all these artistic work. You serve the same thing. That's a reality. Then they market as a good service, as expected, services as expected. So expectations and reality meets in the same point. So they market us as expected. Think about another scenario. They expect a plain coffee, and you served a plain coffee without any add-ons. So if the customer is expecting the same thing, then you can serve the same, and customer also grade it as expected. This is the part you have to understand. Think about another scenario. Customer expectation is just a plain coffee. You serve with all these add-ons and cookies, all the additional things what we explained earlier. Customer also grade it as not expected, or there is a gap between the expectation and reality. So customer grade it as not expected. Their mindset is different because what they expect they have to get. If they expect a premium coffee with all these add-ons, they have to get that. Then only they will be satisfied. If they expect a plain coffee, then you have to serve that. Then only they are satisfied. Otherwise, what is happening? Think about they are expecting a premium coffee with all the add-ons, and you are serving a plain coffee. Then they feel that you are talking about a lot of things, you are charging a lot, but you are serving just like any street hotel, any street restaurant. That's all. There is no speciality for you. So I expect that type of speciality or uniqueness in your cafe, but you are just served a coffee. That's all. Think about the other scenario. I expect a very straight coffee or a very plain coffee, but you serve with all these add-ons. Then the customer is thinking in such a way like, okay, why they add all those things? They are charging higher. Maybe their product is inferior. That may be the reason they are doing that. So whatever customer expects, if you deviate in the positive side or negative side of this expectation, customer mark it as not expected. So every time customer needs the service as they expected, then only they will retain. Then only they will mark it as a good service. Then only you can retain customers with you. So very interesting scenario. Think about your product or think about your brand. Whether your brand is giving service above than expectation or below than expectation, both are bad scenarios. Whether your brand is giving service as expected. You can differentiate these scenarios by thinking about a premium luxury car and a family car, or a simple low level family car. Maybe the same customer is using that. Think about what he expects from a Ferrari. A Ferrari should provide that. But think about a customer is expecting from a Polo or a Golf. Brand should provide that. So customer won't expect the facilities in Ferrari in a Polo. At the same time, customer won't expect a Ferrari with the facilities like Polo. So these two scenarios are in a bad situation. So you had to provide service as expected. When I say service, it includes products. That's why I'm not specifically talking about any product. So mainly you are serving the customer. So what are the components in it? What is the deviation or variation from the customer expectations that we have to measure? If there is no variation, or the variation should be in the expected level, the gap between reality and expectation should be in the accepted level, then only the customer will stay with you. That is called customer retainership. Okay, coming to the models, the science behind it. This is called gap analysis. What is the gap between the expected quality and experienced quality? That's what we have to measure. As I explained earlier, if you can serve what customer expected, that is a perfect level. It means we are measuring the gap between expected quality and experienced quality. So what is the gap between these? If there is no gap, that is a perfect scenario. Otherwise, it's an imperfect scenario. What are the components for this gap? Expected quality is developed in the consumer's mind from your marketing communication. You are offering something. So what is coming from your brochures, your website, or whatever communication you have made, that creates an image in consumers' mind. Then what others reference, the reviews and everything. Then customer needs. These are the main factors for expected quality, and how the experience quality develop. That also creates an image after the use. Technical quality, that technically it should be perfect. Then functional quality, how it operates. These are the two factors. How you provide the service, or how your product is operating, or how consumer is using your product. These have multiple dimensions, because some products can be operated by a professionals, some products can be operated by a literate person. So the expectation of a professional is like is in one point, and the expectation of the illiterate person is another point. You may be an expert in software development, but you may not be expert in automobiles. So your expectation is in automobile is like a illiterate person, but in your softwares you may expect like a professional. So whatever may be the expectation the consumer, whatever may be the expectation of the customer, you had to match it. That creates the complexity of these scenarios. Okay. So what are the components for measurement? The components for measurements are core services, that is like in a cafe, you have to serve coffee, the perfect coffee. It's a core service. Then facilitating service. So customer won't just stop at that point with core service. Whatever may be your level of cafe, that may be a street cafe or a premium cafe, customer expects something additional. What what is additional? Information. That's a when we can categorize it as facilitating service and enhancing service. In facilitating service, what is information about the coffee? Sometimes customer will ask something, then order taking, billing, payment. These are called facilitating services. And enhancing services, that's consultation, hospitality, safekeeping, and exceptions. I will go in detail to all these components. These components in total, we call it as flower of service. That is one of the interesting models in management, and especially in service management. Flower of service, because the core service at the center and all other services like filth of the flower, that's called as flower of service. You have to stick on to that flower of service model. It's one of the best models available, and measure it. I will go detail into each component. Think about the scenario of cafe. So you are serving coffee as a core service. So just serve the coffee. You maybe offer, I am serving this specific coffee, specific type of coffee from a specific estate. Think about that scenario. Or sometimes you may think that I'm just giving a plain coffee, say locally made. Okay, whatever you are offering, you have to serve that. That is the importance of core service. And you have to serve that. The core service in a if you are using a car, the core service is it has to you have to travel from one point to another point. It should be. If the car is not running, then there is no point in discussing any other facilitating service or other add-ons. So the core service is it should execute that core service. Think about you are booking a flight, it should reach the destination. That's the core service. Okay. But actually, the customer satisfaction is not coming from the core service. The whatever the additional service you are providing, according to their expectation, that makes a huge value, huge component in their mind while measuring your service as expected. What are they? The first one is information. Okay, think about that scenario of coffee. They are looking for what are the alternatives, how this coffee is made. So a lot of information you are providing in your menu card or in website. You have to provide that. Even think about a street cafe. They may ask to the person, okay, they say that this is locally made coffee. This is a speciality of this is the way it is made. That's also information. Think about a premium coffee. They will explain about a lot of things about that coffee. So that type of information you had to provide. It's a one component. The next one is order taking. How you take the order. How was your interaction? How clearly you explained or how you book the order. These things are the second factor, customer expectations. So customer expect a smooth and easy process of order taking. If you come with a big agreement when you have a coffee with these is my conditions, this is the way I'm going to make the coffee, so you have to sign this agreement, then only I will make the coffee. Customer feels very bad, isn't it? Even though there is agreement between the customer and the cafe owner, but you come with a legal statement saying that this coffee is made like this, I have no other responsibilities or something like that. Think about this type of agreement is come between the customer and the coffee maker in a cafe. It looks bad. So think about the order taking process should be so easy, so smooth. That's what customer is expecting. Then billing. It's most of the time this is very hard, very simple billing. Why should you come with all the government statutory procedures in the okay? That can be there in a very small corner being a statutory process, but customer looks into the very straightforward billing. Don't make complexities, don't make unwanted intellectual game in billing, as all the um internet providers or the mobile providers are doing. Lot of intellectual game in billing, and they arrived it in some figure that is very bad in the service. But because customer is having no other options, that's why everyone that's the reason they are not yeah. Do you think that that type of billing is an interesting situation for a customer? So they use so many days, that's a plain thing they are expecting as a billing, not value, not amount. We are talking about the process of billing. Then payment, the billing and payment is different. How easily they can make the payment. Sometimes people say, I will accept only cash. Is it a good scenario now? Think about a cafe saying that I expect only cash. But think about a street cafe, they can claim like that. So I will expect only cash. That's acceptable thing because he knows that's a very small one. They may not have that type of technology, technical facilities. That can be. But think about a premium cafe. They say that I will accept only cash. And it's not an acceptable thing. And sometimes people are charging additional to uh, take payment using card. That's one of the bad scenarios. Why a cafe can accommodate that 1% or 0.5% charges bank is charging in their account. So that's a very bad scenario in most of the shops. They are providing some additional to the some additional value if they are not paying in cash. That is, customer rethink these process. Maybe customer pay that, but it's not a satisfied level. That gives a very hard impact to the customer's mind about the satisfaction level. That's why payment is very important. Then consultation, of course, They need some guidance from you. It's not a information. Information is what you already published. Consultation means they need some guidance from you while selecting the service, because customer is not a expert in your area. You think about a coffee making, or what type of coffee I need now. Customer may need some guidance from you, so you have to give all the information for the customer to take decisions. That's called consultation. Hospitality, that's a very important thing in service, how your people behave to consumers. Whatever, what type of customer, maybe it's a illiterate customer or a premium customer, they expect something from you, a pleasant, joyful, and smooth interaction with you. That gives a very great weightage, very high weightage in your in service satisfaction. So customer think that hospitality part, that is how your people behave with you, with a customer, is an important aspect of customer satisfaction. Then safekeeping, how safe their data is. In a simple scenario, you can say that how safe they are in a cafe, how safe their belongings in the cafe. You may provide CCTV and all those. If they put something on the table, it will lose. Or how safe their belongings in the cafe, physically how they are safe. At the same time, nowadays people are talking about how safe about their data, their personal data. Think about a street cafe is asking for card. They always doubt whether my data is safe, whether my transaction will be safe. So that is safekeeping. But in a premium cafe, they won't doubt that. So that's the reason in a street cafe they are ready to pay cash, but in premium cafe they are ready to pay by card because of these safekeeping aspects. So this is one of the important things. They physically they should be safe, at the same time their data should be safe. What is next? Exceptions. That's a very beautiful component, because all your customers at some point they will be deviating from rules. A little bit change from rules. That gives a huge value in the customer satisfaction. You may not be strict like a military rule. You can't do that. You can't do that like that. But there should be a limit. But you have to accept that limit. For example, very simple thing: the ladies dancing inside a cafe. Is it acceptable according to the strict rules? You may say that don't make sounds, don't disturb others. Okay, some person is saying that that's disturbing to me. That is violating to the rules in a society. But actually, it should be within the limit, and if you permit within the limit, that gives a huge weightage to the customer expectations. So they feel that okay, I can enjoy, I can be free, I am so in that place, and they are taking my needs, they taking my personal needs. That's called expectation. This also work in another way. If there is a complaint from a customer, how you take care about that complaint, how are you listening to that complaint, or are you answering to that complaint, how you take care of this complaint. That's also added in the exceptions. Customer always mark in that category, in that. Okay, then how we are to measure these components: core services, information, order taking, billing, payment, consultation, hospitality, safekeeping, and exceptions. Core services, that is questioning about the reliability of your product or service. So that is an entirely different thing. You can just look into reliability, whether your product is reliable to a customer's needs, or it's catering to customers' needs while the customer is using your product. Is it reliable? That is a basic question. So that is a technology level, and or other additional service will come into place only if that gives the reliability factor. So whether it creates any problem, the basic, whether it operates, whether it works, whether will the flight will reach in time, whether your car will drive smoothly and reach the destination, it's a core service. Think about other things, other components. After the retainership, we are talking about retainership. So actually, it's after sales. After sales, I will explain some examples with after sales. Think about you are giving after sales service for an automobile or for your car. For a car, okay, the customer want to do the first service with you. So think about customer is coming to you. Okay, this is a time for first service. Whether customer call you or you inform the customer. That's the first question about success. Oh, if you track the customer and say that okay, now your first service has reached, you can bring the car, or I will provide our drivers to take the car from your home and take it back. Think about that. So customer is marking his calendar and say that okay, this is the first service. That is that type of service information you have to provide. So think about the information about the service. These are the things you are going to do in service. This is the first service. These are the uh, items in that service you are going to, that maybe oil change or that may be something else. So it depends on the product, it varies, but think about that. So you have to give the clarity of information before doing that service. Then how you book the service. Okay, on tomorrow morning you can book the service. Okay, you can come to our service center, or whether we have to send my person to take the car. Think about the order taking process. How smoothly, how comfortable for a customer. Think about a taxi driver. He's happy to come to the service center and wait for the. That's okay. But think about a premium car owner. He has a lot of other things to do. He is not happy when he come to your service center and spend so many hours in the service center and waiting for that. So how you can make it smooth for that type of customers? It's order taking, then billing. Of course, you come with a very long bill after the service, but whatever it may be, the customer will look into the total figures, and you have to explain each billing point. That's okay, fine, but they should be convinced that this is the replacement of this component is a required one, and you already replaced it, because in their mind they have doubts. That depends on the different products. If they have doubts, you have to make that clear and give the clarity for each component of the billing. Then payment. Okay, you have to come with cash and put it here. You have to stand in the queue and remit the cash. Then only you can take the car. Think about a premium customer. Okay, that is not accepted to that level. I always remember a scenario I had with my dishwasher. When I book a service, the dishwasher is around 3 years old, and it's away from the service period, the free service period. But there is some complaint. I want to book that. Then immediately the person from the company said, "Okay, this dishwasher is purchased under this phone number." There was a phone number at that time. You purchased 3 years back. You have to book from that phone number. I said, I don't remember what phone number it is. And maybe it's my phone number or my wife's phone number. I don't know. Why you are asking these type of unwanted things? The product is having a product ID. Am I right? Being a dishwasher, there will be a product ID. Is a unique product ID. You can ask that product ID. So against that product ID, you have to book the service. and the person says, I will communicate only in that number because that's a registered number I have. Oh, what the hell you are talking about? Leave it. I need not record your dishwasher. That's immediate action I have taken. I will go to another brand. I won't think about the money at that point. So these type of unwanted things, don't create these type of unwanted things. I will communicate only to that number. I'm not at all interested because I'm not interested. I have not time now. Maybe that booking has made from my maid for the service now, because maid is operating the dishwasher. The maid is done the booking. You can ask for the product number. The maid will give the product number. You can put the service under that, and you can do the service. Why should you say that you will communicate only to that number you have? Then I have no other lot of other works. Don't disturb me. So don't create these type of scenarios with the customers, consumers. Okay, then the next point. So I think you are clear about what I am saying. So people are coming with these type of um, registrations process. Okay, that's good for your internal management, but not for consumer. Then consultation. Okay, if you come, the customer is booked for the service with you for the car service I'm talking about. He may have a lot of doubts whether I want to change this, why this is happening, why this sound is coming from there. So the customer will ask a lot of questions. You have to explain. May not be it covered in that service, but you have to give guidance, proper guidance. I never use this particular option. How to use that? Or sometimes like in your manual, this explain like this, but how to use that? Okay, this is called consultation. I'm talking about after sales scenarios. Then hospitality. Okay, and the customer come to your service center. Think about a premium customer come to your service center, and chauffeurs also there in the service center. So the waiting area is common. That's itself marks the customer expectation as low, because he's not interested to wait like a chauffeur. So that is called hospitality. And if you have to at 9 a.m. you have to reach there and you have to stand in the queue. So think about that scenario. And taking the delivery also another problem. Then safekeeping. Your car should be safe. It sometimes people will put a lot of personal things inside the car. They won't take it. That should be also safe. That's one of the important thing. Most of the time I lost my shoes after sales, after service from the salesperson, or after service from the automobile center. When I put my car for service after sales, when the service is done and getting it back, most of the time I lost my shoes, because I always put one pair of shoes inside my car. Think about that scenario. So this is called safekeeping. So you have to understand that this marks very bad marking in the customer expectations. Then exceptions. Okay, I said that, okay, I know that you will deliver the car only after payment, but my internet is not working, or I am not in a position to pay now. You can send the car to my home. I will give the payment. Think about that. So that's like called exceptions. At the same time, if I have a complaint, okay, there is a complaint. For example, take the same complaint. I lost my shoes after taking service from you. Then are you taking it as very serious? And how you are going to cater? How you are going to answer to that scenario? That's also called exception. So all these factors will work very prominently when we talk about after sales service. That gives the that retains the customer. So think about, they will mark as expected. They should mark not in the negative side or in the positive side. It should be as expected. That is very important. So how to measure these factors? Questionnaire method you can follow. That's in a quantitative way you can measure. Or you can discuss with them in a qualitative way, analyze the story, and come to this point. Anyway, the measurement scale is same, but you can adopt two methods. One is quantitative method and another is qualitative method. So both ways you can measure, or you can measure only in one way, that's also fine, or combined way, that's also fine. So you come to the conclusion. First, you have to take the individual measurement for all the component. Then group mean, you have to calculate group mean. At this point you can apply segmentation, so the different category of people, maybe age wise, income wise, geography wise, everything you can set as different segment, and you can measure according to the segment. Then what's your acceptance level? You have to fix an acceptance level. Then continue with that and develop the time series and constantly measure what is a deviation, what is a variation from the acceptance level. Okay, I almost explained the theory behind it and how it is applicable into different scenarios. Still, I have a model demonstration. I will explain how it works. Think about in a cafe, you are measuring all these factors. Then we measured like different factors according to that scale. We measured like this 6, 5, 6, 3 for each component: the payment, consultation, hospitality, safekeeping, exceptions. The acceptance level is 5. So the variation is +1. There is no variation. In order taking, there is a +1. Billing is a -2. Payment -1. Consultations no variation. Hospitality -1. Then safekeeping +1. Exceptions. So only billing is having the huge variation. What is your acceptance level? It is between -1 and +1. Think that if you fix the acceptance level like -1 and +1, then billing is away from that acceptance level. All components should be within the limit for retaining 95% of customers. 5% always step away from you. That's why 95% of retainership is more than fine. So all components should be within -1 and +1 to keep 95% customers. Now, in this model or in this measurement, billing is away from this point. Then what is the implication of it? You may think that, okay, just one person say that billing is not acceptable. Then I come with a question. I put a question in front of you. Think that you have 10,000 customers. Then you are talking about 8 components. I'm not talking about core factor. If only after core factor, all these satisfaction have good weightage from the balance factors, facilitating and enhancing. So the 8 components. Then one customer is not satisfied with one of the 8 components. Think about in this scenario, there's a billing. The one customer is not satisfied with one of the 8 components. You think about it, you have 10,000 customers. From 10,000 customers, only one person is not satisfied with one among 8 components. You may think that is a very rare situation. So why should you take it? Okay, we have 10,000 customers. And he talk about only one component, billing is not satisfied. Then the next question, what is the chance for the next customer is also not satisfied with the same component? Think about if one person in 10,000 talking about one component out of 8, then what is the chance for next customer is also not satisfied with the same component? That is a very important question. What's the chance? Looking into the probability. First customer, second customer, third customer, like that. There are 8 components. The probability for selecting a unique option, if the person not interested in probability, you can skip this part. But actually, you have to understand what it is. Probability for selecting a unique option from the balance option is 1. Then probability for not selecting the same option by the next customer is 1. That the probability for selecting same option by next customer is 0. Then the first that means the customer marked billing as not satisfied. Then probability for selecting a unique option from balance options. Then when he select billing as not satisfied, what are the other balance options? There are 7 options. Then we calculate the probability in the same way. Probability for selecting a unique option from the balance 7 options. Probability for not selecting, that is 0.875. Probability for selecting is 0.125. The probability for selecting another is probability for not selecting the same option is 0.875. Probability for selecting the same option is 0.125 from the balance customers. That is 9,999 customers. Then 6 options. The 5 options. Think about the 4th customer. Probability for selecting unique option from the balance option 0.625. Probability for not selecting the same option 0.41. Probability for selecting same. So billing already marked as unsatisfied for one customer. What is the chance for the next customer who marked billing as not satisfied? The 4th customer, there's a 0.58. That is above than 50%. Think about 5th customer is having 79% chance. Think about 6th customer is having 92% chance. 7th, 8th customer is 0.99, 0.7. That is 8th customer. Make sure that the 8th customer will mark the same billing as not satisfied. Think about you think that you have 10,000 customers, but the 8th customer, then think about it, 10,000 customers are coming to your cafe. First customer says that billing is not satisfied. Then you can expect the 8th customer. In the 4th customer, there is a chance. Then the chance is increasing. The 8th customer, you make sure that you can check, or you can cross check that 8th customer will say that billing is not satisfied in this measurement. Otherwise, you test it in your cafe. That is a probability scenario. What it means, chance for next customer also not satisfied with the same component is 28% of customers have 50% chance. That is, if you had 10,000 customers, 2,800 customers will be having 50% chance. 22% customers have 75%, 16% customers will be at 90%, and 13% customers have 99% chance. That is 13% of customers. 300 customers out of 10,000 customers will be mark your billing as not satisfied. That is more than enough to step away from your cafe. Then think about whether this 13% is acceptable to you. Even 28% having 50-50 chance, that's not acceptable. That's 4th customer. That is not acceptable. Think about whether the 13% is acceptable to you. So 100% sure that the 13%, that's 8th customer, the 13% of customer will mark your billing as unsatisfied. Think about that scenario starts from 1% marked it as unsatisfied. Or 1% marked your billing is not satisfied. Then if you are 10,000 customers, 1,300 customers will mark it as not satisfied. Whether you are accepted to that level. All components should be within the limit for retaining 95%. That is your acceptance level. That's away from that. So 13%. So think in this way. One complaint from one customer about one component results in 13% of customers staying away. This is a very dangerous scenario. So don't underestimate or don't be lazy. If one customer says one component is not satisfied, you don't be lazy and think in such a way that I have 10,000 customers. If one person is gone, that's okay, no problems. Don't think in that way. That results in 13%. 100% sure that's in 13%, and there's a 50-50 chance that 28%. That's a huge component. 28%. There's a 50-50 chance that 28% of your customers will step away. They won't. You can't retain that customer. So it's a very serious scenario, so keep in mind. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I hope I explained all the practical scenarios and theories behind it. Maybe there's some probability calculations, but I am not going deep into the probability calculation methods. I just give the output of the probability, but that's a basis for these type of calculations. And the management models I used in, that's the flower of service. Then the components I put forward in front of you is more relevant for the retainers. So keep in mind that how you can retain, or what are the components customer in mind have in mind to continue with your brand. The most important thing is you have to provide service as expected. That is a very important. And if you want to talk to me, or you have to discuss anything connected to the open innovation journeys or customer experience index, you can scan this QR code and fix the appointment. I am happy to share anything connected to these models. At the same time, you are welcome to share my presentation to your friends and colleagues, expecting your likes, comments, and questions. Waiting for questions. Oh, what is the model behind this probability calculation? Okay, the model behind this, or what is the theory behind this, that method I explained? Okay, you can refer birthday problem. There's a very beautiful paradox in probability. It's called birthday problem. You can refer it to Wikipedia. So paradox is, what is paradox? Paradox is something above than your logic. You can't understand this, even though that's theoretically correct. Calculation is correct. So but you can't be convinced. There are different type of paradox. One category of paradox is that you are not. It is not acceptable to your logic. So that paradox is called birthday problem. That is a model I used here, because if one person select one component, that's birthday problem explains. If one person have a birthday, the people are randomly coming into a hall, and if one person have a birthday today, what is the chance for next person to have birthday? That is called birthday problem. Okay, being there is a 360, that's calculated based on 365 days or 23rd. So any only 365 options are there. It's not same day birthday. So 23rd person will be having same day birthday. So think about just 100 people in gathered in a hall. There are 4 people have same birthday. So what is the implication of that? If you announce some price based on if someone is having birthday today, you'll be having the price. If there is one person has the birthday today, there is at least 3 more people. So that's very difficult to understand to your logic. That's why it's called paradox. That's called birthday problem. And flower of service. Okay, everybody knows the flower of service. That's a very prominent model in management. I use that model after this. You can apply flower of service in pre-sales scenario, pre-purchase scenario. At the same time, you can post-purchase. I'm applying it in a post-purchase because the post-purchase is more important for retainership. Pre-purchase is most important for purchase, decision making, but post-purchase service is most important for retaining customer with your brand. Otherwise, next time he won't buy your brand. He need car, that's okay, but he won't. He won't come to your cafe. He won't. If the very simple thing, if that lady is dancing, if you said to that lady, don't dance here, this is not acceptable. We are strictly keeping our our discipline here, but ladies say that okay, but by I'm not disturbing anyone, so there is no problem. There is no other customer also in this. So no, that is not acceptable. Then the lady won't come again. That's more than enough for stepping away. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time. See you next week.